What if I told you that one of the most powerful water disinfection methods is hanging out in the sky every day? Today we're talking about SODIS, solar water disinfection. This is backed by decades of scientific research. It's endorsed by the World Health Organization, and all you need is a clear bottle and sunshine. If there's ever a disruption to your water supply, this knowledge could save your family from some really nasty waterborne illnesses. Hey Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Kylene, and today we are going to talk about SODIS, or solar water disinfection. And all of the information we're going to talk about is at SODIS.ch. We also have a post where you can reference all of this because it might be a lot of information. But this is such an important knowledge to have because it can make the difference between life and death in your family when disaster strikes.
This was developed and tested by EWAG, which is the Swiss Federal Institute of Aquatic Sciences and Technology. So this has gone through some extremely rigorous, not just by those people, not by the SODIS.ch, but all over the place. People have done massive amounts of research, and this is what millions and millions of people rely on every day to provide safe drinking water.
This really works. In fact, when I first heard about this years ago, I thought, there's no way. There's no way this is just a hoax. And I called one of the local water testing places, and the lady that I talked to about it said, oh, I heard about this and I've got all the equipment to test it, so I decided to test it, and it really does work. Also, SODIS.ch, that's where you can get all of the massive studies. But let's talk about what it is and how it actually works. First, your choice of bottle is really important. So you have 4 inches of width. So if you look, well, first of all, it should be clear. Anything yellow or colored, tinted, is not gonna work. So you wanna make sure that it's clear. And then you have 4 inches. Like on this bottle, this is a 2-quart. You can do up to 3 liters, but I couldn't find actually a 3-liter bottle. This one is actually, I think, a little bit too big. And so I don't think it would work. But your typical 2-liter bottle would work just fine. And you do have to expose it on your side, but I will talk about that in a minute. Now, Jonathan and I went shopping. We're like looking at all the water bottles, all the clear bottles.
Yeah.
And we found this one, and we thought this is actually
pretty cool.
Pretty cool because it's glass, and sometimes, we worry about the plastic, and it's got some labels that won't come off, but if we expose it on its side like this is significantly less, and it's glass. So that's kind of a really good thing.
So this one, there's probably less than 1/100 of a penny worth of water in there. And the bottle itself was like $3 and something. So it's a very expensive bottle, but it will work great for SODIS.
And in your storage, you need to think about this because you want to have some in your storage so that you can do this. Now, this is a really good bottle. See, this one has a label, but the label comes completely off. You do not want to use it with the label on. But this is a good size. You could expose it outside. The plastic is really nice and thick. This plastic it's not. It's usable. You want to take off the label, but it's not going to take very many uses before this isn't good anymore.
And these are my favorite. Canning jars, clear canning jars. I think these are awesome. Whether it's pint or quart, like we said, this might be just a little too big. It's close, and if you didn't have anything else, do it and just maybe cook it a little longer.
Cook it,
but just out in the sun for a little bit longer.
So we should probably talk about the way that this works. So the UV rays damage the DNA of the bacteria, viruses, and parasites, which means that they can't reproduce. And anytime that you can get them warm, the heat actually amplifies the effect significantly.
And let me just mention here, most cities now use UV disinfection for their processes, for cleaning the water that you're drinking every day. Now, the original source of UV is from the sun. Of course, these water districts aren't putting that water out in the sun in bottles and then putting it in their tank. They're using artificial UV lights, which does the same job. But the point is, it is truly effective, and it's what most cities are using to disinfect their water.
So now let's talk about the process. Then we're going to talk about the times when it does not work, because remember, this is effective with biological contaminants, but there's a lot of other things that we need to be concerned about in our water. So let's go through the process.
Okay.
Before we get into filtering it, do you see how this is one that we've used for SODIS for a while, and it has all these little scratches on it, and it's not as nice and new as this one that still has soda in it? This can reduce the effect over time. So if you have a container that's starting to get a lot of scratches, you probably don't want to use that. We're going to use it for today, just for demonstration. The first thing we need to do is get the cleanest water possible. And if it has any floaties or is colored or anything, we want to clarify it first or strain it somehow to try and remove some of those particles. So I've just got a coffee filter and a funnel here for my mason jar, and I'm just going to run the water through here and let that fill up just like that.
You can also use a bandana. You can use any kind of a tight cloth, towel, anything that will just filter out as much as possible any contaminants, because that's where critters can hide, is in these little contaminants, pieces of wood, sand, whatever it is. That's the other thing that makes this really good, easy, is that you can use all kinds of tools to do this. A coffee filter, a bandana, some kind of a cloth, a handkerchief, some kind of a towel, anything that will get the sediment out.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually aerate it. So we want to put the lid on, and we're just going to shake it up. Once it gets like 2/3, 3/4 of the way full, we're just going to get some air in it. Whoops. And then we'll finish filling it. Perfect. Okay. All right, and now that this is full, we need to expose it to the sun on the side. We want at least 6 hours of bright sunlight. Now, if you have where the sky is only half full of clouds, that's fine. If it's more than half full of clouds, then you're going to need to expose it on 2 consecutive days. If it's raining or snowing, this isn't going to work, and you're going to need to boil it or do something different. So when it comes to exposing it to the sun on its side, a reflective surface is actually going to do a better job than just putting it on the ground. So if you have anything like these pans, a reflector, what other things could you use? I mean, just anything that's reflective is going to make a big difference.
Another thing that you can use is a dark pan, because that's going to absorb heat. So whether you're reflecting that back up and in, or whether you're getting a black surface that's going to really heat up and help that water temperature go up, it's going to work really well. Now for us today, we're at a UV index of 3. So we're pretty low today. We wouldn't go out and just do this for 6 hours and call it good. That's not going to work. Yeah, we would need to do 2 days, and hopefully one of those would be with stronger sun. Now, just for your information, the UV index goes from 1 to 11 plus. Okay, that sounds kind of weird. I thought it just went from 1 to 10, but they have 11 plus, which 11, 12, 13, and 14 is the highest they usually go, and those are high altitude tropical areas.
Okay, let's go back to this. So pretty super easy. We're going to get the water from the cleanest source we can. We're going to clarify it, run it through some kind of a pre-filter. Then we're going to fill it up 3/4 of the way full, shake it, finish filling it up, and then we're going to expose it to the sun on its side, on a reflective surface if possible, or second best is a dark surface, and if not, just get it out there in the sun. And what this will do is it will kill the biological matter that's in there, right? It'll kill the bacteria and the viruses and the parasites all within that 6-hour window. But we do have a few challenges with that, like cryptosporidium.
Yes, cryptosporidium, you're going to want at least 10 hours. It's a little bit of a tougher nut to crack, so, it just needs more time to get that job done.
And if you have amoebas in your water, it actually needs to be heated to 122 degrees for at least an hour in order for those to be deactivated. Now, not all water sources do we need to worry about cryptosporidium or the amoebas. Amoebas usually hang out in water that is over 80 degrees, or maybe a water tank that hasn't been taken care of well, that it hasn't been well chlorinated, those kinds of things. So it's possible for them to be there. And then the cryptosporidium, that's pretty much any place where you're going to have animals partaking of the water with you.
Yeah.
Because they haven't learned proper stream etiquette. And they do things that people do in swimming pools that they shouldn't do in swimming pools either.
That's right.
So
well stated.
If there's any animal interaction in your water source, you may have cryptosporidium, and so you may want to use the longer exposure rate. But usually one method isn't perfect, and so as we layer methods, that's what makes it perfect. SODIS is great for bacteria, viruses, and parasites, but it absolutely will not remove any type of chemical contaminants.
Right.
So if you're worried about pesticides or heavy metals or all
fuels,
kinds,
all those kinds of nasty things that we don't want to consume.
Chlorine, right? A lot of things, it's not going to remove them. And so a lot of times, unless you've got a really good clean water source, it's best to use more than one method. Viruses are tiny, bacteria are bigger, protozoas are bigger. And so almost any decent filter used for water filtration will physically manually pull out the cryptosporidia and the amoebas. So if you kill the little guys that these guys can't kill very well with SODIS, and then just run it through any one of the less expensive filters, you're going to be able to take care of a lot of the stuff that's in the water. Now, some of these, like this one, says that it will remove heavy metals, lead, mercury, arsenic, bacteria, viruses, and giardia and cryptosporidium. So you know the limitations of this, right? Did it say that it was going to remove the chlorine or the pesticides or anything like that?
No.
No. And that's a good filter. But you've got to know what's in your water in order to know what to use to be able to remove it. Some of these are just super easy, and any of these will remove the cryptosporidium and the amoeba. So you don't have to worry about those. You just need to deactivate those viruses that might slip on through, which are very easily done through solar water disinfection. Mm-hmm. In my emergency kit, I think it's really important to have a few containers that will allow me to do solar water disinfection. And think about this. I might need more containers than less, because if I have to leave this in the sun for 2 consecutive days, and if I need at least a gallon to drink a day, that's quite a few little containers. So you've got to kind of think about that. But a lot of the containers you can get, and they'll just be free. You just need to make sure that you have a little stockpile of them. And while you're at it, you should just store them full of clean drinking water.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
So what do you need in order to do this? You need a transparent bottle. You need water from the cleanest source that you can, a way to pre-filter it, and sun. That's all you need to make sure that you don't get a nasty waterborne illness.
As far as time goes, if you've got mostly sun, 6 hours is probably going to do it. Now, I'm an engineer and I like redundancy, so I'd probably go longer. If you've got the ability to go longer, it's just going to make sure that you have a better outcome. If it's cloudy like it is for us today with a UV index of 3, we're going to go a couple of days. And hopefully the next day will be a more sunny day.
If it's raining or snowing, you need to just use a secondary way. You need to boil the water or disinfect it another way. Now, in a lot of the places where they do this on a regular basis, they'll have like a corrugated roof, and they just put the bottles up there. And the recommendation is, once you have disinfected the water using the solar water disinfection technique, you want to leave the water in the bottle until you're ready to consume it. Because say you clean this in this, and then you decided, well, I want to store it in this big container, the chance of contamination is really great. So having the smaller containers that you're exposing to the sun and leaving the water in there until consumption is a really good idea. And you want to make sure that you leave it so that it can cool off. Another thing about solar water disinfection is that, unlike boiling, which changes the taste of water, because this isn't evaporating anything off and there's air in it, the water still tastes good. Well, as good as it did when you put it in here.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the taste of the water. So what does this mean for us preppers? We need to have the right size water storage containers to be able to use the sun and disinfect water for the amount of people that we have responsibility for. And for us with a lot of kids, that could be a lot of bottles.
But she's got a lot of bottles,
got
so
a lot
hey,
of bottles.
We're there.
And then you need a good quality filter and understand, your water source. What is your water source? What things are you going to be concerned about? You need to make sure that you pick the right water filters to take care of whatever you think is going to be in your water. And it's such a great thing to combine these two. Solar water disinfection. This is knowledge that everyone needs to have because it may save your life when something really bad happens. Go visit our website, theprovidentprepper.org. I'll leave a link to this specific post where I'll have a whole bunch of information for you and some graphics that you can print out and put with your emergency preparedness stuff, because this is powerful knowledge. Share it. We need everybody to know, because this seriously could save lives.
Pretty incredible, right? This is good stuff, and thank you for participating with us today. Now, what are you going to do to take this knowledge and implement it into your preparedness planning? Drop it in the comments. Let's have some discussion. Let's learn from each other. And thanks for being part of the solution.